Sally.
We'll get started here with Chris and then Dave.
Hey, afternoon, Nick. After having have a chance to look over the tape, how would you officially assess the way that Gardner play, and what do you have to do to make him right and put him in position so that he can succeed?
Yeah, I think we didn't play well enough as an offense in total, right? And that's never just on one guy. We didn't coach well enough. We didn't put the guys in good enough positions to make plays. When you score 10 points, there's a lot of blame to go around, and it starts with me. And we didn't put the guys in good enough spots to help them make plays. And we got to do a better job of that. Gardner played a fantastic game, in my opinion, against the Cowboys. He didn't, up to his standard. It probably, and if you ask him, he's probably going to say he wanted a lot of plays back in this game. But again, we got to help him be in a better spot to make plays. And I'll take responsibility for the interception. We came back to a play that we had run earlier in the game, and they recognized it, and they made a play off of it. And so, we gave them a recognizable formation, and they made a play off of it. And and we put them in a tough spot right there. And I think, I think that's a major, obviously that's a major turning point in what people envision Gardner's game being. They'll put a lot of that on that play, but I'm accepting responsibility for that play. That's on me, and we put him in a tough spot right there.
We'll go to Dave and then Tim.
Hey, Nick, if I can, I actually want to go back to that pick six. A.J. Brown was on social media today defending his effort on the play. He explained that it was, given that look, his route became dead. So wondering what his responsibility on that play was, and if you were pleased and content with the level of effort.
Yeah, the responsibility on that play is, again, I'll just go back to my own. Again, we were in a 3-by-1 formation. We shifted the guy up to the line of scrimmage onto the right side, putting us in a 4-by-1. That's a very recognizable formation. And a good corner made a play, and with a smart safety on the other side, with 32 and 23 over there, they recognized it. And Dennis Allen's a good coach, and he recognized it, and they had made an adjustment, and they made a play. I'll never question our guys' effort. And AJ gives it up for his teammates all the time, every time. And so I'm never going to question. This is not a team where I'll ever question our effort, because I know how hard these guys go for each other, and how hard they go because they're prideful guys. Again, going back to that's my responsibility, and that's why they got the interception.
Go ahead, Tim, and then Bo.
Hey, Nick, what can you tell us about the progress that Jalen and Gardner Johnson have made, sort of behind the scenes? And with Gardner Johnson, I'm curious, like, how much has he been able to do on the physical side as he comes back from this injury?
Yeah, again, they're both getting better every day because they work hard at it. They work their butts off to do what they can do. And Chauncey's a little bit harder to do anything much in there because it's his body healing. Jalen's done all the rehab. He's always in there working, and I know they're getting better each day as far as what they've done because of who they are, of how they're rehabbing, how our trainers and our doctors and our strength coaches help them out, because we have top-notch guys right there. So they're all a little bit better than what they were even yesterday. So obviously we're just waiting to see how they feel continued throughout the week, to see what their status will be up for this week. Chauncey, as far as what he's been able to do, again, you have to rest that. That's not something that you can be there and do a lot with. But with these last 2 weeks, he has been able to ramp it up. So he's able to, when it is time for him to go, he'll be ready to go physically, right? Not just the injury healed, I'm saying, but physically be ready to go. And so he's worked really hard at that the last couple of weeks, but he did have to take it easy early on because that was part of the healing process for him.
Thank you. Just a real quick follow up, if I could, on Jalen's shoulder. Like when he is, cleared to come back, is your understanding that his shoulder will be at like full strength, like he'll have normal, sort of torque and velocity on his throws when that time does come for him to be back?
Yeah, I mean that would be obviously that's everything's taken into play as far as when he's ready to come back, right? We're gonna want him not only to be first and foremost, we always are gonna want him to be healthy enough to not put himself at danger, right? That's first and foremost, but then also so he can perform at a high level as well. You don't want to put, when you're talking about throwing, throwing the football with an injured shoulder, it's a little different than some other injuries, I guess, to say. Like, he's got to be able to throw the ball, down the field. He's got to be able to throw it accurately. He's got to be able to throw it with velocity so he can be, be effective as a quarterback. And so, did I answer your question, Tim? There, I'm sorry. I kind of went rambling there for a second.
It's all good. Yeah, just when he's cleared, do you feel like that he's going to be is the expectation that arm is going to be at full strength?
Yeah, so I think it'll be a both and. One, he'll be healthy where we're not putting him at risk, and then two, he should be able to throw is the expectation. Yes.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead, Bo, and then Jeff.
Hey, Nick, sticking on Jalen, you've talked about how much he wants to be out there and is sort of agitating to play. After the loss yesterday, what was sort of his reaction, and has he said anything to you over the past 24 hours about really wanting to get back?
Yeah, I know Jalen wants to get back. That's been his message to me ever since this happened. I'm going, it's hard to keep him down because of how tough he is, the kind of competitor he is. He wants to go, and so I wouldn't say in his last 24 hours I haven't talked to him. I've been kind of dragging myself through the mud and trying to get it right on my end. So Jalen and I haven't had a conversation with the last since yesterday. But obviously he's disappointed, like we were all disappointed walking out of that stadium yesterday. And that's Jalen's an ultimate competitor, tough, and so he's just as disappointed as we all are.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Martin.
Nick, you said Jalen was close. What do you base that on? And if he was close, why didn't he get more practice repetitions? Gardner said he took all of them last week.
Yeah, I guess we played that pretty right then for Gardner to get all the reps since he's the one who played. So he was close. I base that off of what the doctors and what Jalen's telling me is essentially really just it. I mean, I'm listening to all the people that give me the information on those particular things, and that's where we were saying that obviously he got to be able to go out there and practice an individual, which is obviously closer than what he was the week before. Doing individual throwing the balls, but yeah, he didn't get reps last week at practice.
And then when you said you're right in having Gardner take all the practice reps, what do you mean by that? And is that typically what you want because you don't want to have guys splitting reps?
Well, yeah, Gardner took the reps, and I guess we were right by that by saying that Jalen wasn't quite ready to play yet.
Go ahead, Martin, and then Rube.
Hey, Nick. I was wondering, how much of a believer are you in momentum heading into the playoffs? I mean, obviously, the context being that you guys have lost 2 in a row, but, with the game coming up against the Giants, how much do you believe you guys need a pretty big win significantly, in order to get rolling into the playoffs?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're improving, right? We're improving. So as a football team. And, thought the defense played a really good game yesterday. Thought the offense played a good game the week before. And so, you never want to be you never want to take dips in your improvement, right? You want to continue to go at an upward level. And so that's what you want. That's what you're trying to get out of this. Now there obviously it's the National Football League, and that does happen here and there. But, as far as how we just want to go out there and play a good game, obviously. This next game and play to our abilities and coach to our abilities. And so, but as far as momentum, I don't really think about that stuff really too much. I just want to go out and perform that day. I think that's kind of been my message to the team and to you guys at all times is like, well, what if this happens or what happens? Like, you're just trying to work on the day at hand, right? And so that you're, try to go 1-0 each day, so you can go 1-0 that week, and then you worry about the next week later and the momentum of the next week later. So it's not something that I think a lot about, to be quite honest with you.
All right, thanks.
We'll go to Rube and then John.
Hey, Nick, when you look at the defense, their worst drive was the first drive. Obviously, the game was the only offensive touchdown the Saints scored. Offensively, they started with 4 straight 3-and-outs. And when you look at the big picture, it seemed like both sides of the ball were flat to start the game. Did you sense that? Do you ever sense that before a game? Is there any way you can kind of get guys out of that morass if you feel it's happening?
I think if you sense that, then of course you'd go to the extremes to say, and do whatever you need to do to fix it, because you want to start fast as always. So I didn't sense that. How do you get them out of that if you do sense that? You kind of you got to snap everybody into it, and what our message was at halftime was like, hey, and I kind of went to every group and said this, and I said it to the locker room, like, hey, we couldn't have played much worse than we just played, and we're down 13-0. So we got a chance to be able to go win this thing. And, with how bad we played. So let's just get going and go. But, that's what I said at that halftime. I tried to say that a little bit before halftime as well. But yeah, didn't sense that going in, and if I had the right thing to say there, I would have said it had I sensed that.
Go ahead, John, and then Zach.
But Rube, to your point, we definitely didn't start the way we wanted to start, and we definitely started flat as you said.
Hey, Nick, just to kind of button up the interception, just wanted to ask you, is there sort of, obviously you and Shane can't come up with the perfect call each time. Is there any sort of teaching point to that particular play? And then just real quick, Josh Sweat, if you got an update on Josh.
Yeah, I know you saw Josh was released and everything yesterday, and we'll take Josh one day at a time. I'm just really thankful that it wasn't more serious there. I know everybody in that stadium was holding their breath, because anytime that stretcher comes out, that's tough to deal with. And it was Josh was saying, hey, just let me get up. I can get up. I can get up, and this and that, and the doctors obviously in that scenario have to make sure they go through all the right channels. So I felt a little bit more at ease because of what Josh was saying out there. Fletch and him were having conversations. He had his head down, and Fletch was, Josh, you okay? Sweaty, you okay? And Sweaty was, they were talking back and forth, which really put me in a calmer state of just the conversation. And I share that because of how good of a leader Fletch is, and the relationship that they have together was really cool to see, while Josh was laying in a situation where obviously no player wants to be in, and you could just see that he was there for him. And anyway, and then your first part of that question was the interception. Tell me that again. I'm sorry.
Sort of the teaching point, because obviously you and Shane can't come up with a great play. Yeah. So.
Yeah, John, and as Shane and I watched it together this morning, and as we watched it as a staff, we just kind of said to each other, hey, this is too recognizable of a formation to come back to. And if we do come back to that, a recognizable formation like that, we need to do something else potentially off of it. And so, and that's what we said to ourselves. And we, like we said, it's like, hey, this is on us, just like what I said. Just like what I said to you guys, and that accountability, that's where accountability starts. Accountability doesn't start by us as coaches as saying to the players, this is what you have to do better. It's part of it, but accountability is everybody looking in the mirror and saying, I screwed this up or I screwed that up, And that's what's important part of the process, to say, this is what I screwed up, and this is what I'm going to do to fix it with this type of detail, and not protect anything, just let everything be out there, right? And now we don't share everything with you guys. You guys know that. I mean, and that's just the way it is. Some things do stay in the house, but but the first thing you do is you got to drag yourself through the mud first, and have the hard conversations with yourself, and have the hard conversations with staff of what we did to have 10 points, to score only 10 points when we were coming off of averaging 38 a game for the last 5 games. And so, but that's what I love about this building, is that everybody can and everybody does look themselves in the mirror first, and there's no protection mode. It's just like, hey, here's what I got to do to make sure we're reaching our potential. And so that's really was I'd let you in on all that conversation. That's really what it was. And I take full responsibility for that call. That's on me.
We have time for 2 more, so go ahead, Zach, and then EJ.
Hey, good afternoon, Nick. If you think back to week 18 last season, you were in the same spot that the Giants are in now. If you think back to that, what made you choose the path that you did, and what do you anticipate the Giants doing this weekend?
Yeah, I can't anticipate the Giants. I can only control what I can control. That's always been my message to the team, of control what you can control. Spend your mental energy on the things that you can spend that are worth your mental energy. What went into it last year for us was that's what we felt. I mean, really simple as this. Like, that's what we felt was best for us. Now, obviously, we didn't win the next game, but we felt like that was what was best for us as a football team, with some of the bumps and bruises that we were dealing with at that time, to make sure that we were healthy to go to healthy and fresh to go to Tampa. So, I mean, that's what went down with our decision, and then again, not trying to not answer your question. I really do believe this, Zach, is that I got to worry about the things that I can control and that are worth my mental energy, to make sure that I'm putting our team in the best position to win this game and to win this division.
Thank you.
Go ahead, EJ.
Hey, Nick, if Josh Sweat does miss some time here, how do you view the edge rusher depth behind him? And I guess, kind of along that vein, is Robert Quinn getting closer to return? I guess, do you have an update on him?
He's definitely getting better. Again, for me to say right now, EJ, that he's going to play or not play is not fair to anybody. And so he's getting better. He's worked his butt off to get better. And I love the depth that we have there. Obviously, Josh Sweat is the player who he is, and you're always going to miss a player of his caliber, because he's such a high quality football player and a high quality person. You're going to always miss that. But, I guess someone shared a stat that we were the first team ever to have 4 guys with over 10 sacks. So I'm feeling pretty good about our depth at that position, which is pretty amazing. You always, as an offensive coach, you always look at the stats of guys who are up there on their pressures and on their sacks. And I'm not sure. Well, I've never seen a team that has 4 guys of it, because it's the first time it's ever happened. But I'm not sure the last time I looked up and saw where 3 guys were on it, right? I know some of those teams that we used to play against in the AFC West when I was with the Chargers. You had Tom Bali and you had Justin Houston. I know they were always over 10 sacks, but the third guy was Frank Zamba, and I don't remember him being over 10 sacks. No offense to him, because I do think he was a really good player. And then I think about the Broncos. They had Von Miller, they had DeMarcus Ware, and I couldn't tell you who their third guy was. So, my point is, I feel great about the depth. Wishing Josh a speedy recovery. But our defensive line has done a phenomenal job. Great job by our defensive coaches. Coach Walsh, Coach Rock, Coach Scudder, and obviously Coach Gannon, just putting those guys in positions to succeed, and then those guys going out there and just executing at a very, very high level. That's something that no one's ever done before, and that's special.
Thanks for the time, Coach.
Thanks. We'll see everybody Wednesday.